After months of waiting, a COVID-19 vaccine is here. Many hailing this as the beginning of the end of the pandemic.
People were thinking that this vaccine couldn't happen in 2020, and here it is.
But is it safe? What's next? We're asking your questions and hearing from one of the nation's top experts behind the Pfizer trial at Upstate Medical.
It showed a 95% effectiveness, so it's that's a really high bar.
Answers you want, coming right to you.
And that's right. And good evening, everyone. I'm Christy Casciano.
I'm Jeff Kulikowski. Welcome to a special edition of News Channel 9 at 5:30. We're devoting this half hour to your questions about the COVID vaccines. And by the way, a second vaccine just getting a recommendation by the FDA Advisory Committee. That is from Moderna.
Joining us live, the lead principal investigator for the Pfizer vaccine and SUNY Upstate's Chief of Infectious Diseases, Dr. Stephen Thomas. Dr. Thomas, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Sure, thanks for having me.
All right, let's just start off by asking, how are you feeling? We know you received the COVID-19 vaccine yesterday morning. What was it like? Any body aches, any soreness, and what can people expect typically after receiving the vaccine?
Yeah, no, I mean the process was great. It was, I was not directly involved in kind of setting up the process and the logistics and everything. We have a great hospital operations team and a great pharmacy and logistics, and so they took on that process, and it was really seamless. It was great. I got an email that my number had come up, and I rushed right over the next morning, and I feel very good. I mean, it's like any other day. It actually feels better than than some of the other vaccines that I've had to take. The people in the trial. So remember, both Moderna and Pfizer have a very similar vaccine platform, and if you put them together, they both enrolled over 70,000 people in their trials. From the Pfizer perspective, a lot of people complained of mild to moderate arm pain after vaccination. Mild to moderate pain means, my arm hurts, but I can still do my daily functions. I can take care of my family. I can go to work. I can go to school. And then some people had complaints of headache and fatigue. Those were the primary complaints that people had, and that could be anywhere from 3 to 5 out of 10 people who got the vaccine complained of having fatigue or headache. Again, though, it was mild to moderate, and it was interesting because the older people, so people over 55, fewer of them complained than the younger group. That was one thing. The other thing is that it seems that after the second dose, the reactions occur more frequently than after the first dose. And then the last thing is that it seems to occur pretty quickly if it's going to occur, so that you'll typically, within 24 to 36 hours, if you're going to have those symptoms, they'll start. But it also goes away quickly. So most of these people, within 24 to 36 hours after the symptoms start, they go away.
Dr. Thomas, we want to get to our viewers' questions because we had a lot of really, really good ones. So here's the first one, a very popular one. When we get the shot, will the doses be the same strength, or is that first one you get stronger or weaker than the second one, or are they exactly the same?
So both for the Moderna vaccine as well as the Pfizer vaccine, they're both 2-shot vaccines. With Moderna, it's 4 weeks apart. With Pfizer, it's 3 weeks apart, and it's the same dose for both the first and the second. And
we've heard that, it's not one and done. You need both of the shots to be 100% immune to coronavirus. If you could break down the 2-dose need for everybody.
Uh-oh, did we lose Dr. Thomas there?
Right, so the studies were done where you needed 2 doses. So the data that is available tells us that you need 2 doses. When they look at people's immune responses, it looks like you certainly need 2 doses because the immune response after the first dose is not as high as after the second dose. So, and the other thing, though, I'd make sure people know is these vaccines are not 100% protective, right? So they are both about 94, 95% protective.
Next question. Do you have to stick to the same brand of vaccine? For example, if that first dose comes from Pfizer, does the second one need to be from Pfizer, or could you mix and match, one from Pfizer, one from Moderna?
You cannot mix and match. You have to get the same vaccine from the same manufacturer for both your first and second dose.
This is a question a lot of people have been asking. If you expect this to be an annual vaccine like the flu?
I certainly hope not. You know, flu vaccine, we have to get a different vaccine every year because the strains change very quickly. And so you try to match the vaccine with the strains that are currently circulating on the planet. But SARS-CoV-2, which is the coronavirus that causes COVID, seems to be more stable than the influenza viruses that circulate around the world. So right now it looks like a single vaccine should take us through at least you know, the next couple of years. That's a little bit of speculation on my part. What's really important is that there are multiple groups who are looking at this every single day. They're collecting viruses from around the world. They're looking at the genetic fingerprints, and they're trying to determine if we're going to need a different vaccine or different therapeutics, because it matters for treatments as well. But right now, fingers crossed, it looks like this vaccine, you know, might be good for at least a few years.
Well, that's